two. The first one was theory. Whereby we basically just learned what it is, what it means, what it can do. And I did share a number of PDF documents with everyone. I think I shared them in my group as well, the accountants forum, and then I sent them to some of you as well. PDF documents that actually guide you when it comes to using this. Our first constitution was theory, and that's exactly what we did. We basically talked about it. The only practical part that we touched is the registration, how to register for an iCARE account. So let's firstly get to understand what iCARE is again. Let's just take a minute to understand what it is. We know we're using I know we're actually using NAPSA for us to make our payments, to submit our returns, to register employees, to register businesses. We used to do all NAPSA services via NAPSA, and yes, there are certain changes right now. There are certain things that we can do, and there are certain things that we cannot do. Okay, let me put it like this. There are certain things that we can do now that we couldn't do before, and there are also certain things that we could do before, but we can't do now because the system has changed. And trust me, it's very interesting. I don't know if you know about this yet, but I'll tell you. Firstly, we started with the registration, okay? I've shared my screen right now. So what you are seeing here, I've shared the website link as well in the, I've shared the website link as well in the group, my group accountants from. So what you are seeing here is basically just the website, the way it looks like. When you just click that link, it will bring you here. Personally, I have my own personal iCARE account already. That's the reason why I have my credentials already here and it's already approved, so I can log in. Okay, so what we're going to do is, firstly, I'll show you the registration, which is the first part. And then secondly, I'm going to log in to show you how it is inside and how to do a number of things, starting from returns, payments, and registrations, adding your companies or registering a company. And then afterwards, we're going to look at a template, a NAPSA template, to see how it's done. And then we're going to learn anything that we're supposed to learn pertaining to iCARE. And then there's a bonus, there's a plus, okay? The bonus is, I said, whoever actually joins this iCARE training will have a certain privilege or a certain benefit. That benefit is, I will ensure that you do your returns and payments before the deadline. So basically, this is our practical session, and it's practically our last session when it comes to iCARE, but it's not the last time we are talking. I'm giving you my time up to the 16th of July. Okay, so basically we are in this together. And like I said yesterday, this time around, I'm the one pushing you to do your returns and your payments to ensure that this month is clean. Okay, the good part is that the date was extended to the 16th, so we have up to Wednesday next week. All right, let's do this. Okay, so let me click on the registration here to see how we do it. So for you to actually access your company, let me just give you an example. Let's say Madam Martha is an accountant in a company, okay? Madam Martha is an accountant in a company, and she's responsible for their NAPSA. She does the NAPSA returns and the NAPSA payments, okay? There's the new iCARE system. In NAPSA, you just log into the account, the employer profile, okay, using the employer credentials. You log in, and then you access whatever you're supposed to access. You do your returns and you do your payments. Easy does it. But this time around, there's a difference. The difference is that this time around, we do not log into an employer profile. Instead, we create a personal profile. Like for instance, Mr. Paul, you create a profile for yourself, and then after you create it, after you create that profile, immediately it's approved by NAPSA, which takes less than 48 hours. Immediately it's approved by NAPSA. Then you log into your profile and then you add your company. And there's more good news. You can add more than one company. Isn't that impressive? So I actually think it's easier and it's also better there's one part though that I feel is not very good when it comes to iCare. I'll talk about it later. And that's actually my opinion. So I actually feel that aspect of it, or basically that part of it, is very, very good, because you can, like for instance, we can talk about freelancers. Yeah, we have individuals who are working in companies, and we also have freelancers whereby they do these services for a number of people. They don't need to log into this company, log into this company. They can simply just log into their profile and access all the companies that they're working for, or all the companies that they're offering those services to. Okay, perfect. It's not really like the in-NAPSA where I have login, log out, login, log out. No, this time around, a single profile, add all your companies, and then boom, you do all your returns and you do all your payments. Okay, so the question is, how do we actually create your profile? So when creating a profile, you just come to this site, click the link that I shared in the group. After you click that link, it will take you to the first site that you saw, and then after that site, you click yeah, after that site, you click register. Okay, there is a part where you're supposed to enter credentials. I'm assuming you saw it. We're supposed to enter credentials for you to log in. Don't log in yet, just register. I know some people might be thinking, they're like, okay, I was using NAPSA last month. Why do I need to create another profile? That was your employer profile on eNAPSA. This is something completely different. Yes, you are in the NAPSA database, but you don't have a profile yet. You have to create a profile, and then NAPSA approves it. An officer from NAPSA has to manually look at your details, everything you submitted, and then approve it. That's the reason why it takes time, because an actual human being does it. They approve it. Okay, and then after they approve it, that's when you can use the credentials you set up yourself, by the way, to log into that account. Okay, so how do you create it? The profile. You come here, you basically just fill in information, identity information. You bring in your nationality here, your current country of residence, your ID type. It can either be an NRC or a passport. If it's a passport, there's also this other information here. They'll also need you to upload an image. The best is a passport size photo. As for me, I personally just took a selfie of myself. I captured the selfie and it was approved. But if you want something that is perfect, and if sometimes they might say your photo is dark or your photo is not clear, so you haven't approved it. So a passport size photo is the best. But in case you don't have that and it's urgent, I think a clear selfie can work. It worked for me, it can work for you. Okay. So when we talk about images, it's not just your image as an individual, it's also the back and front image of your NRC. Okay, the back and front image of your NRC. So unfortunately, I can't go next unless I actually put in this information. But that will actually take time because we're supposed to end at 18 and we have so much to talk about. So you put your image, your personal image as an individual, your professional photo, and then your photo of the back of your ID and the front of your ID. If it's a passport, just like that. If it's your NRC, just like that as well. You bring in your personal details, your name, where you're from, I bet you'll be familiar with that. Your contact information, that's where you actually put your email address and your phone number. And by the way, your phone number must be your actual phone number, a phone number that is registered in your name. Okay, you can't use my phone number for your profile, it won't work. You have to make sure if it's an Airtel SIM card, the Airtel SIM card must be in your name for it to work. These are some of the reasons why some profiles are not being approved. Simple mistakes. So have to ensure everything is done properly and accordingly. Okay, and then after we feed the system with all the necessary correct information that it needs, then we just create a password. You have to create a strong password with 12 characters, and then after you've created a strong password, you preview and then you submit. And then after you submit, what NAPSA is going to do is that they're going to look at the information you've submitted. Basically, you've given them information, so they will look at the information you've submitted, and then that's when they will decide either to reject it or to approve it. Okay, that's when they'll decide either to reject it or to approve it. And then let's assume they don't reject it, because they can only reject it if certain information is not correct. Like, for instance, your ID number is incorrect. There's some information that doesn't really make sense, or your NRC is not really clear, the photo, the image, or your personal image is not clear at all. They can't see you. They want to see your face. Okay, they can't see you, so they will reject it. But let's assume everything is correct. If everything is correct, you get a notification that tells you, by the way, the notification will go to your contact information, the information that you fed the system. You get a notification, and then once you get that notification, you know that that profile has been approved. And then after that profile is approved, then you can use the password that you set earlier to log in, which I'm about to do right now. Okay, so let's say they've approved it. We did register here. We did our registration. Everything is perfect. And by the way, in case you forgot your password, you can do forgot password, and you get a code on the email address and the phone number that you put in the system. Okay, let's say we have all the information correct, and NAPSA was excited. NAPSA was happy that we submitted correct information. Then they confirmed that they've actually approved our profile. So what do we do next? We basically log in. Let me show you. You put your email address here. This is mine. And then you put your password here. This password is the same password that you set up when you were, Mr. Paul, do you remember that portion at the bottom that said create password? I don't know if you are actually looking at the screen.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Yes. So that part, the password that you put there is the password that you put here. And please don't
Okay.
be like me. Me, I've already forgotten my password. The good part is that it's already saved in the computer. Okay. All right. So the NRC number and the password, and then you simply sign in. Let's see how iCARE looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is iCARE, and this is how it looks like. Your photo will come over here, and it's not very clear, but let me just off the announcements. I don't want to view this. Okay, I was just wondering what this is. So it's an announcement. It's a pop-up announcement. They're forcing me to look at it. So it's the NAPSA due date extension. I'll have to view it because I want, my concentration is basically to see how the screen looks like. So yeah, I've viewed it. I actually know about this already, but hopefully they're not forcing me to wait. Um, yeah, they're forcing me to wait. I guess let's wait 15 seconds before we close this. Okay, perfect. So we saw our announcement. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, Madam Martha, Mr. Paul, and Mr. Paul. This is how it looks like. Mr. Kelvin, are you there? So this is how the dashboard looks like. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. So this is how the dashboard looks like, and we did the first thing. Okay. We did the first thing. The first thing was creating a profile, which we have done. Perfect. And our profile is working, but our profile is not connected to any business. Okay, our profile is not connected to any business. This is just my profile, but what of the company's profile? So that's the next step. The next step, after you create your profile as an individual, you will need to add your company to your profile. And then when you add your company to your profile, you become a super user of that profile, of that company. And then that's when you'll be able to do returns and make payments and do any other services pertaining to that company. So the first thing was creating a profile, which you have done. The second thing is adding that company. So there are two things. It's right here, it's all here. There are two things. The first one is registering an employer account. The second one is attaching an existing account. Let me tell you what this means. When we talk about registering an employer account, Mr. Kelvin, imagine this. You want to start running a business, or you are running a business illegally, and you finally want to register it, okay? And then after you've registered it, you want to put it under NAPSA. Then, because it did not have a NAPSA account, it never had a NAPSA account, it was never in NAPSA's database. Then that's when you click here to register that business. So this is an entire process. You're basically giving all your information to NAPSA, saying, we have a business running, please put it in your database. Let me show you how it looks like. So I'll just click register an employer account. Okay, so I've clicked register an employer account. There are 7 tabs. This is just the first one. So remember how you were registering an employer account when we were using eNAPSA? You just need to fill in, you just need to put in information, and then it will also need certain documents like certificate of incorporation, such things. Okay, so you just click there, and then you feed the system with all the information that you need. You feed the system with all the documentation that it needs, and then after you do that, you just submit that, and then it will be approved. When it's approved, then that particular company will be added to your profile. By the way, this is for new companies, like a company that is a company that is not known by NAPSA, a company that NAPSA thinks does not exist. Okay, it's not in NAPSA's records. It's a starting company. That's when you're starting. So that's where you actually do this. But what if you already have a business? What if you are working for some company and that company was actually you were using eNAPSA for that company? Okay, you are using eNAPSA for that company, but because eNAPSA no longer works now, you want to use iCARE, you want to add that company to your iCARE profile. How do you do it? Well, you basically just click on attach existing account. And then it's asking you, was the employer you want to attach on eNAPSA? eNAPSA is the system that we are using. So Madam Martha, let me just ask you this. Your employer was under eNAPSA, right? Hello, Madam Martha, are you
Yes,
here?
yes, it was.
It was you. Yes. So you basically just click yes here, and then it will ask for the email address. Okay. So the email address is a registered email address, an email address that you were using for eNAPSA. Okay, the official email address that you were using, where all the codes and all the NAPSA information was actually going, and what you were using to actually log in. So when you put your email address here, it will send a code to this email address. And then after you receive that code to that email, okay, let me put it like this. It will send a code to the email address that you put in the system. If there's no any other company registered under the email address, it will actually tell you. But if there's a company registered under the email address, it will send a code to that email address saying someone wants to add it under iCARE as a user. And then here it will give you a provision for that code. To give you a provision for that code. So when you enter the code here, that's basically just for security purposes, so that someone doesn't add your company and see your confidential information. That's the reason why the code actually goes to that email address. After you put the code here, automatically, immediately you're just done putting the code and you press enter, automatically the system will be linked to your company. That's it. Automatically the system will be linked to your company. But I don't want to use any official email address here because I know I may lose it. Okay. But how do you check how do you check your profile? Part, okay? Because we are we comfortable with this part? Okay. So everyone, are we comfortable with how to link a company or how to register a company using iCare? Before we go to the other side.
Yes,
How
sir.
to link? Yes, we are comfortable. Yes, just that unless if we can go further, I mean it's difficult to go further since that's when we are more like doing it.
Yeah, but going further is not really a problem. You just put an email address here, and then after you put just that the email, it's okay. The one that I can try is already linked, but you just put an email address here, and then after you put the email address, it will send a code, and then you just put that code. Then it's linked. That's it.
Or all right, okay, sir. If it just the way it is, no, it is fine then.
Okay, and then upload documents, and then after you upload documents, you fill in information. If you fill in information, and then you submit. And then you submit, and then now we look at the information, and then now we look at the information, and then after you submit, and then after you submit, an offer, after you look at the info, go
Sir.
to okay,
So
okay.
far, so good.
Hopefully we finish. If we don't, we'll still make some extra time. Okay. All right, but hopefully we do. All right. So now let's go this side. So we understand the dashboard because we know what the total contributions that you actually put in as an individual. Okay. And then for formal sector, they mean like, for instance, your contributions as an employee where you are working, and then informal sector, your contributions from, let's say, your business. Okay, so yeah, and then yeah, and then here we have two. We have member and employer. So they're both more like just they both have a lot of things under them. Like in member, you've seen it has got home, benefits, contributions, and then there's also managing account. And then there's employer, which has got this information as well, attach existing company. By the way, all the information under employer is for employer. So attach attach existing employer, new registration, home, compliance, and like I said, you can add more than one employer. Compliance, penalty waiver, returns, payments, or basically just any reports, or managing your accounts. And then we have other services at the bottom. So I just opened them so that we get to understand them, and then we get to know what we are supposed to do and how we are supposed to do it. Okay, so I'll start with member. So member, when you click home, it will basically just show you your information. Here it will show you your contributions, and then here it will show you your benefits, like for instance your claims. And then here you're just managing your accounts. The reason why I'm not actually opening some of them is because they have my information, but it's just showing you your stuff, showing you your stuff. Okay. And then but some of the information that's here actually shows on the dashboard. Like for instance, the contributions shows on the dashboard, and the benefits also show on the dashboard. And if you've made any, if you are eligible for claims, it also shows on the dashboard. Okay. Our main concern in that we are actually working accountants is the employer part, which is our main concern, the employer. Attaching the existing employer, we've already talked about. You can do it either from here or you can do it on your dashboard. New registration, you can also do it either from here or on your dashboard. And then home, let me just click home. You see, it will show you your companies. And then if I were to click here, it will give me information pertaining to that company. So if you add more than one company, all the companies will be listed here. You just have to click this to go to the next company, the next company, and the next company. Okay. And then after this, it will show you, and then compliance will show you if you are compliant. This is like this because this hasn't yet been submitted, the one for the 16th. And then there's compliance here, penalty waiver. Our main concern, again, the returns and the payments. Let me start with the returns. How do we do the returns? I remember I shared a PDF document that actually directs us on how to do the returns. Although I have good news. Has everyone here ever submitted a return using NAPSA?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Mr. Paul?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay. Mr. Kelvin, have you ever submitted a return using NAPSA? Hello, Mr. Kelvin? Hello? Hello? Okay, all right. I think Mr. Kelvin is having network issues. Okay, no problem. Okay, so the reason why I was saying we have good news is because when it comes to submitting the returns, they haven't really changed anything. Okay, the template is exactly the same. So if you don't have a template, you just have to click here to download a template for 2025. It changes every single year. So you have to get the most recent one, which is the 2025 template, and then you feed the template information that you need to feed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the template looks like. But this is where you do your returns from. Okay. When you download the template here, you choose the file and you upload it after you fit in. Which is the same exact same thing that which is the same thing that we were doing when we were using NAPSA. Is that correct, Madam Martha? You just have to ensure it's a
Yes, it is.
CSV file. Yes. Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, I know you're actually probably familiar with this because you were using NAPSA, but let me just open it just in case for people who might not be familiar with it. Okay, so right now I'm just sharing this tab. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then I'll start sharing again. Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Okay, so
can.
Madam Martha, does this look familiar?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. So this is the same, the template has still changed. It's the same template, the same one we're using on NAPSA is the same one we use on iCARE as well. It works perfectly. You just have to make it a CSV file. You can either save it as a CSV, of which the easiest is just to generate a CSV. Okay, so how do we use this? There are instructions that actually tell you how to use it. Certain tabs here are not editable, they are protected, and yes, this is Excel. And also just to mention, in case you need something like this, I also create. Mr. Kelvin knows, and maybe some of you know. Hopefully you do. Okay, so firstly we go to the header. So I'll just click return to return header. I'll click here, and then it will take me to the header. When I go to the header, that's where I'm supposed to put my information, like for instance, the employer name, that's the company name, and then the account number. By the account number, we're not talking about the bank account number, we're looking at your NAPSA number, okay, your NAPSA registration number, and then the year, the month, and the number of employees. And then after everything is correct, by the way, you change this every month. You change this every month. And after all this is correct, you basically just proceed to the return. Uh, After you've confirmed that everything is correct, you just proceed to the return, and then after you proceeded to the return, you basically just feed the system with information. I don't know why it's taking some time to load. It's here, I think. Okay, perfect. Just open it. So you basically just feed the information with the details. Like for instance, you bring in the social. But by the way, let me just mention all this information. You don't need to edit them. They come from the header. It's picked directly, and you can't even edit them. They're protected. And then here you just feed the system with. Like for instance, if you are paying NAPSA contribution for Ronald Kashweka, you put Ronald Kashweka's social security number here, the NRC number, the surname, the first name, the other name, the date of birth, the gross wage, and then it will automatically calculate the employer's share and the employee share. There's one interesting thing about this again. When we talk about the NRC number, I know NAPSA was working for non-residents. Yeah, I know ENAPSA was working for non-residents, whereby you just use a passport, but iCare doesn't work. If you put a passport, it will say no, it will refuse. It only allows NRC numbers. It can be either a green national registration card or a pink national registration card, but it has to be an NRC number. No passports, unfortunately. Okay, so you just feed the information in the system, and then when you are done, you basically just generate a CSV file. You generate a CSV file, and it will be saved. When that CSV file is saved, what we are going to do next, let me just stay logged in. Yeah, wanted to log me out. What we're going to do next is we're going to choose the file. We'll choose the file, and it will direct us to a folder, and then we'll pick that